how do I feel looking back on 25 years? I'm incredibly proud that we are still here as such a vibrant organisation.
We are a bunch of guys who literally learn the game by watching it on YouTube. And they get hit, and they're like, I wasn't ready for that.
The sense of camaraderie and seeing that continue off the field.
Whereas in the first few years, it was kind of like, this could fall apart tomorrow.
All is in readiness here. The stars are out. The big stage is here. The red carpet is rolled out.
Looking forward to this, as we like to say, a humdinger.
And the question is, can you teach old dogs old tricks? This is a rematch of last year's grand final between the two sides.
They made the grand final last year, now a rematch. It was a slugfest.
Every single player on that team is a weapon.
I'll tell you what, if that doesn't make the hair stand up on the back of your neck, you might want to check your pulse.
So, hang on to a partner. This is going to get rough and ready. The two best sides here at the Nationals, the Dream rising to the top in Prince fashion. And these boys are going to get it on. Smash mouth in the middle. Fantastic mark in front by the number 12.
For the air, Coleman went for it. Look out, here comes trouble.
Sportscast, Courage Boom Opera out of the middle. Everyone goes down and gets funky.
Saying, calm it down. I got this. Let's take some good marks. Let's play some clean footy. That's where we should.
And the umpire says, I may need to shovel the scraper off the ground. Masters says, give me that ball. And she took it away.
Tosses it to the heavens, and the good Lord says, go after it, my daughters, and play footy.
A bit inexperienced, a little bit probably nervous and over anxious. You've got to keep it plugging away, it'll come.
Yeah, no big tackle put in there, but it was high, just a little high around the shoulders.
Taken by the 24 for Minnesota. Free man of the score. Here's the number 23. He's taken, played on, shoots, and scores! We have some new kids on the block with regards to USAFL Nationals.
I love the fact that all these Americans love this sport.
Well, it started like all great Australian things start, which was over a beer.
Had a mate from Perth, Western Australia, where I'm from, and he invited me up to Cincinnati and said, oh, we're going to go for a kick of the footy. I literally thought it was going to be like the two of us. So we get out there and there's like a dozen guys. And he goes, oh, and by the way, this is Rich Man. His dad played AFL, his brother played AFL, and he will be taking training tonight. So I was like, put on the spot, never taken a training in my life. And I thought, oh, okay, let's come up with some drills.
So I found out about it and actually met with a couple of guys, including John Harrell, at a crab shack outside of Illinois. I drove down from Milwaukee and we just had a chat about what would it take to get this thing started. That got me involved in a game in St. Louis when I played for Kansas City, drove down for the weekend, sort of like what we do today. And it was, to me, that was the first game that I was involved with that made me think there was something here. And I remember we went to the pub afterwards. It was a sweltering hot 100-degree July day, or summer's day. It was just crazy.
One of the hottest dehydrating games I've ever played in my life. And we all just sat around the bar afterwards and just thought, you know what, we might have something here. Like, what do we think? And we all looked at each other and I think we, legitimately and maybe unrealistically, we could have something here. Later that year, we had the first Nationals in Cincinnati and held a stand-up meeting out the back of a barn in the middle of Indiana.
It was that evening at the infamous meeting behind the barn. So we're in Cincinnati. One of the guys organized this Saturday night event, and his mate had this bar in his house or in his barn in Indiana. So he had to drive across the border. You get off the interstate, you go down this back road, then you get on this dirt road, and then you start, in your mind, you're hearing banjos, and you're like, what the hell's going on? And you turn up and there's this barn. There was about probably 8 of us that sort of, we couldn't meet in the barn, it was too loud. So we went out the back, there was a little light over the door. So we're sort of huddled around this light. You know, it's like, okay guys, are we gonna do this? And I'd obviously spent a lot of time thinking about how to form the league, how we should structure it from my previous experiences.
By that point, we'd all played in enough games and mini tournaments that we sort of thought, okay, like there might be a little bit of traction here, you know, and that was only in the space of 6-7 months. So we kind of all sort of, you know, nutted up a little bit and thought, yep, we can probably make this work.
And so that's really sort of embryonically how we got started. And what I love about the start of the USAFL was the fact it was so classically Australian. It was a bunch of guys having a beer, saying, hey, let's do something. And none of us had illusions to whether this thing would actually work or these massive dreams of what it could become, other than like, let's formalize this and have a kick. So what was really mind-blowing to us as that first group of leaders was really what happened in 1998. And we went from that initial sort of 5 clubs to about 15 clubs in about 18 months. Very, very quickly. And what we had really done without knowing it was tapped into this latent demand of Australians who wanted to have a kick.
So once I'd seen that enthusiasm by guys that had just come to like one practice, and then that weekend they're coming out to a tournament, they're spending money, they're driving, they're flying, pulling on a jersey and like being willing to go that extra yard for a teammate that they'd never met, I thought, yeah, this could be something pretty special.
So I knew we had made it and we were going to survive when Americans started to make career decisions based on footy. No, I'm not going to take that job because there's no footy club there. I took that job because there was a footy club. If I'm going to move cities, I want to move to where there's a footy club. And I'm like, holy shit, we've made it.
I think we had our first administrators conference in Cincinnati. And so we were a couple of years in, like we were just starting to kind of feel our feet. But I think it was also that we just saw that there was a path forward and there was a bit of like structure, which we knew was going to take a lot of work from our end of it because we were going to have to do all the paperwork, but we saw that we had that concrete foundation. Whereas in the first few years, it was kind of like this could fall apart tomorrow.
Every year at Nationals, there's a point where I just walk away from everybody and look back and just say, wow, wow. You know, usually with a tear in my eye.
The 2019 USAFL National Championship Men's Division I is here.
This is Division III final. Division III final between Vegas and St. Louis.
Thank you very much, Grilla. Division I Grand Final 2017 underway.
Women's Division I Grand Final for 2019.
We're going to get it on between these two teams. Let's get this party started.
That first year, it was kind of, you know, sub-regional teams. We had one team from Canada, one out from California. We made it into a 2-day tournament. Like everyone had played everyone. And then everyone thought, well, do we need to play a grand final? And I was like, yeah, like this is our first, we're gonna call it the National Championship. You know, and everyone was looking at me weird going, well, why? I'm like, we need to play a final. From that first weekend, we just thought, yeah, we've kind of got something here. And I think we saw from all the clubs that didn't come that weekend that thought, whatever. Like the next year, it was just like, you know, seagulls to chips. Like they just flocked from everywhere.
My name's Rich Mann, I'm the USAFL president. I'm also one of our level 1 umpire coaches. Mike Canavan, one of our level 1 umpires, going to be umpires for today.
And it wasn't until like 98 when they got to that nationals and everyone thought, oh, okay, hang on, this is serious. Like there were teams coming in thinking they'd won the tournament before they'd even like stepped off the plane, and then they get smashed by some other club and they're like, oh, we need to like train.
G'day, my name is Plugger and I'd like to welcome you to the 2005 US Footy National Championships. It is a fantastic opportunity to have 24 teams come out here and play around 40 games of footy over the weekend.
But then from there, just exploding to essentially becoming, I mean, we still are the biggest Aussie footy tournament in the world, and it has become our crown jewel.
Because right here, right now, is the biggest Australian rules football tournament anywhere in the world. It's the 2008 USAFL Nationals here in Colorado Springs.
I started understanding the game better, and when it really hit was when I went to Nationals and I saw how big everything really was. I was like, wow, this is a thing. And then, yeah, I got the bug really bad then.
The USAFL is a family. You can go to Nationals and see people that you haven't seen in years, or, you know, since COVID or since last year. And it's like you've never missed a beat. You just pick right back up, you catch up with them.
The Nationals every year is pretty much the first thing I put in my calendar. So
being at the Nationals last year in Austin, it was like a massive warm fuzzy moment for me, just to be in the community and seeing everyone that are friends. And
Nationals is pretty fun and it's really competitive. I think once you've been there for a while, you know faces, you know bodies, you know kind of different teams and such, and it becomes almost just like a well-known tournament that you feel like you're a big part of.
It is Austin, 1 straight 6, 1 point and only 1 point for the Golden Gate Roos.
47 out of full-back will try the defensive side of the ground, but here's Golden Gate in the van once again. The heavy hit, he was caught high, and a push in the back was called.
Nationals is really important because it really showcases a lot of what everybody's been working to do, right? And when we show up in numbers, I think that's just a big testament to how kind of far this whole league has come.
I mean, Nationals itself is my favorite holiday. So like, that's just something to look forward to.
When I come to tournaments every year, when I come to regionals, or when I come to nationals, it's like a mini family reunion.
It's great. The Nationals are always fun. You catch up with expats from all over, you know, people you know from home, people that your friends know from home, and all that sort of stuff.
You go to Nationals and the energy and the buzz, and you see all these clubs that are close and tight, and we play fierce on the field, but you know, have a drink afterwards. There's no real animosity between people and clubs. This is such a great thing.
What a footy club is usually it's people, and I think that the USAFL and a lot of its clubs have done a really good job of letting Australians like share that with players here in the US.
Getting over here, working with some expats, growing the game grassroots with the Americans, kind of taking them out. Good kind of community game.
I really love the kind of laid back nature around the game. Like when you're done playing, you can just go chat with other guys from teams. But when you are playing, no one has a problem with you going hard, which is awesome culture in a sport.
For myself, I was just really looking for a competitive league, but just something different than something I played growing up. So I found the club and it really early embraced me, and it kind of turned into more of a community that plays a game together than just a team that goes out, plays a game and goes home.
There's a duty of care for your teammate and also for your opponent. And I think that resonates with people.
Now you really need to have decent play right across the board. So the skills have sort of caught up. The Americans have caught up, and they make a big part of how good you're going to travel this year. It's not so much the Australians.
Guys who are more mobile, guys who aren't, like you can find somewhere for them, and there'll be a level for you. You know, depending on the size of the club, there might be a first and a second, so you can find your level, find your home.
Guys and girls get to the age of like 24, 25, they're into their jobs, and then that's it. You know, so they have no other outlets competitively, and this sport and this league has brought that into the U.S. and into my life.
trying to just make it one big cohesive unit. It's not going to be something that's cliquey, like having a group of guys over here, a group of guys over there. Everybody does everything together. We got a whole bunch of new faces out there. We've only got about 6 Australians on the team.
I met this amazing club. First training, loved it from there. So I've been playing since then. And with just the DC Eagles, I've made a ton of new friends. So it's a great experience.
We're a really tight unit, off the field as well. It's very, San Francisco's a little bit transient in nature, so a lot of people come and go, but we're like a good center point for them to come in and meet new people.
And we're really providing something that isn't really in the greater community for adults. So people see it and they don't want to leave.
For me, it's been pretty big. The Austin Crows in general, for me, have been kind of changed my life a little bit. The camaraderie that we have here, the community that we have here is unmatched, in my opinion, to any kind of other sports league in town.
It's a chance to experience mateship, right? To make friends, get a chance to have adventures, go out and travel to different cities, get to know guys from all walks of life. You make connections, especially through Revos. You go out to tournaments like this and you see guys from cities all over the country.
We do a really good job of fostering a really inclusive environment. The end product, especially nationals, is really, really well organized and really well done.
I have a mate that came in and he's never experienced it. Played American football a lot, but he hasn't experienced the same kind of jovialness. You know, we muck around, we take the mickey out of each other, it's great.
We can learn from each other. I think a lot of clubs work well together to build off of each other. And I think everyone at the end of the day, you know, we love beating each other, and you know, that's part of the competition, but we want to see this league be the best league we can.
Look, I mean, it takes a lot of people to run a footy club, and you know, some people wear more hats than others, and I've tried to step back over the last couple of years, and really the official titles right now are, you know, coach and player. I think the beauty of Australian rules footy is it's such a big team dynamic. You know, it's not 5 players on a court. There's 18 of you all working toward one goal, and I think that inherently brings this real strong team.
1999, we played our first Revolution men's game against Canada, the North Wind. In 2001, we did the Atlantic Alliance Cup in England.
That was a groundbreaking trip for us, like as a league.
I felt it was really important for us to go and be a leader of the international game. We've been involved in everything ever since.
One of the great pinnacles of playing any sport is being able to represent your country. And the USA does in fact have its own men's and women's national teams. And the creation of the International Cup in 2002 and the addition of the women's division in 2011, to go to other countries, and especially in the case of the International Cup, to go to Australia, the game's homeland, is something that you can aspire to.
So playing on like the Freedom, you play against all these girls throughout the season, and then you come together for the USA team and you play side by side, arm in arm.
I went out to Florida with the Revos. I got a chance to go to Australia in 2017 and learn so much. Amazing opportunity to be out there wearing the red, white, and blue, and just being part of the Melbourne culture for 3 weeks was incredible. They love their footy, love sports. It was a trip of a lifetime.
I've really seen the league grow with my own growth.
What makes the CJ story special is to have grown up his entire life in and around the USAFL, and now as part of the development squad for the Revolution.
Getting on the Revo squad, my play style changed a lot. I started looking for positions that were more leadership positions on the field.
He's the first to have done that, and hopefully many people will follow in his footsteps.
I put in a lot of effort these past 2 years to make me a better footy player, to make me a player that can have an impact on the field.
Starting back in about 2010 was the idea of a foundation to raise money for the league so that we can take the dividends and the proceeds every year and plow it back into the development of the sport. It was like, okay, this is the next thing we need to do for the next 25 years. And then the pandemic hit. One of the things I am proud of is over 25 years, we've survived a lot. And so I think we've always had a good, solid financial underpinning. Even though we don't have a lot of money, we've always sort of protected that base of the league. But the pandemic made it clear that something like the foundation was needed. So the concept of the foundation is we take donations. The USAFL is a 501c non-profit, so any donations are tax deductible. We take that money, we invest it in relatively low risk, high dividend type investments, mainly bond funds. And we will never touch that capital. And every year we take the proceeds from that and we take that and we say to the board, this is your grant for the year, and then the board can choose how to invest that money in the development of the sport. We don't earmark it for anything. We think it's important that the board does have flexibility to drive what is important at the time. So really happy this year that we're now coming up to 2 years. Our first grant of $1,500, the board has given it to the development of the women's game coming out of the pandemic. I think that's a fantastic use for it. We're at about $60,000. I hope to reach $100,000 this year, which will put it in the range of about $5 to $6 grand a year that we can donate or grant back to the board. And that money continues to grow and we continue to get more and more investment over the years. I would love to see it at about $1 million, where we're in a position then to sort of give 75-ish grand, depending on the market conditions. Because with 75 grand, we could really do something meaningful to develop the game. But I think the foundation is really critical to thinking about the next 25 years.
We have the structures in place, we have the processes, we have the great leaders like Seb, our current president, and we have our foundation and the Hall of Fame and all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's been an amazing ride.
The 25th anniversary of the birth of the USAFL. What an extraordinary effort.
I hope we get another 25, maybe 100 years would be great.
A massive shout out and a happy 25th birthday to the USAFL.
Super stoked that the league's still going strong after 25 years, and I hope we can grow it even more.
Congrats to the USAFL on their 25th anniversary.
Congratulations on 25 years.
Happy 25th to my family. It's an anniversary.
It's this unique blend of sport and fitness and camaraderie and mateship.
It's 25 years. It kind of just blows me away.
Congrats to the USAFL and the USAFL family.
The USAFL is a shining light.
Congratulations to the USAFL on 25 years. It's just been a great league. A lot of people, unsung heroes that have put in a lot of hard yards.
It's great to see that the USAFL is 25 years now. Congratulations.
Spreading that footy gospel and sharing it with as many people as we can.
Happy 25th anniversary to the USAFL.
Just taking that plunge to start a league is just, it's kind of crazy.
Just want to wish everybody for the 25th gala evening celebration.
Wishing everyone a happy 25th anniversary.
Wishing everybody a wonderful night and congratulate you on 25 years.
To the USAFL, and I want to congratulate all those involved on a fantastic milestone.
Jimmy here, wow, 25 years that US Championships have been going for. Congratulations.
When you have wonderful organisations like the USAFL providing these opportunities, you get to get around with a bunch of like-minded people and nothing else really matters.